ICE agents detained the superintendent of Iowa's largest school district.
America, we just uncovered one of the most shocking government failures in recent memory. The superintendent of Iowa's largest school district, a man responsible for educating 33,000 children, has been arrested by ICE after 21 years of living and working illegally in the United States. Dr. Ian Roberts from Guyana overstayed his student visa, got convicted on gun charges, had a final removal order from an immigration judge, and somehow Iowa kept him in charge of schools. But here's the most insane part. When ICE tried to arrest him, this quote-unquote beloved educator fled in his school vehicle, which they found abandoned with a loaded handgun, $3,000 in cash, and a hunting knife.
We are following developments out of Iowa, where the Des Moines Public Schools superintendent has been detained by federal immigration officials.
What is up, guys? Tyson here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This story perfectly illustrates how our broken immigration system and background check system have failed American children while protecting criminals who shouldn't even be in this country. Let me break down just how catastrophic this failure really is. Ian Roberts came to America legally on a student visa in 1999, but then he overstayed it, making his status completely illegal. For over 2 decades, this man was living and working in the United States without any legal right to be here.
They say that they apprehended in a targeted action earlier today Dr. Ian Roberts, who has been the superintendent of Des Moines schools since 2003. And they tried to stop him in his school vehicle. He fled law enforcement at that point.
But wait, it gets worse. In 2020, Roberts was convicted on gun possession charges. Now, for someone without legal status in the United States, possessing any firearm is automatically a federal crime. Yet, somehow, Iowa's education system never caught this in their background checks and kept him as superintendent of their largest school district.
He's from Guyana. He had come over here legally on a student visa back in 1999. But that visa he overstayed, so his status was no longer legal. And then that gun possession charge that he previously had, which law enforcement referred back to.
An immigration judge issued a final order of removal on May 2024. That was 8 months ago. And Roberts was still running Iowa's largest school district. How does someone with a deportation order continue working with children? How does this slip through every safeguard we supposedly have in place? When ICE agents finally moved in to arrest Roberts, this quote-unquote pillar of the community showed his true colors. Instead of cooperating with federal law enforcement, he fled in his school district vehicle like a common criminal.
They later found the abandoned vehicle, and they found inside that vehicle a handgun, which was loaded, they said, along with cash and some other items that they're looking at as part of their investigation.
Think about what they found in an abandoned school vehicle: a loaded handgun, $3,000 in cash, and a flex blade hunting knife. This is a man who was making decisions about your children's education and safety. This is the person Iowa trusted with a $680 million budget and 33,000 students.
Des Moines Schools superintendent arrested by ICE. ICE announcing Friday that Ian Andre Roberts is, quote, a criminal illegal alien from Ghana in possession of a loaded handgun, $3,000 in cash, and a fixed-blade hunting knife.
The fact that he was carrying that much in cash and weapons suggests that this wasn't just about immigration status. When someone flees with $3,000 in cash and multiple weapons, they're either planning to disappear permanently or they're involved in activities that go far, far beyond just an overstayed visa. Now, guys, here's what really infuriates me about this case. Every single system that was supposed to protect Iowa's children failed spectacularly. The Iowa Board of Educational Examiners issued Roberts a license to serve as superintendent in July 2023, just 10 months before his final removal order.
A public school superintendent in Des Moines, Iowa, has been detained by immigration agents. And we know that school teacher has ties to the D.C. and Baltimore area.
But this failure goes beyond Iowa. Roberts previously worked as a principal in D.C. public schools, go figure, and Baltimore city schools, go figure that one, including as serving principal at a high school from 2010 to 2014. This means multiple school systems across the country failed to properly vet this guy.
According to his biography, Roberts worked as a principal in D.C. public schools and Baltimore city schools. News 4 has learned he was a principal of Anacostia High School from 2010 to 2014.
How does somebody work in the education system over 20 years without proper work authorization? How does somebody get paid without a valid social security number? Either Roberts was using fraudulent documents or multiple school systems were willfully ignoring federal employment verification requirements. The Des Moines School Board's response to this scandal is absolutely pathetic. Instead of apologizing to parents and demanding answers, they're circling the wagons to protect Roberts' reputation.
There is new information that has been made public that we did not know, and we have not been able to verify as to whether that information is accurate.
We stand firm with our community, many of whom are feeling sad, outraged, and helpless.
We have not been able to verify as to whether this information is accurate. What? The man was arrested by federal agents with final removal order from an immigration judge. What exactly needs to be verified here? This is the same kind of bureaucratic bullcrap doublespeak that allowed this situation to happen in the first place.
We understand, as we too are devastated by the news of his detainment. However, this does not stop our important work, and we will continue to provide outstanding education to the students in our community.
They're devastated by the news of his detainment. They should be devastated that they put an illegal immigrant with gun charges in charge of 33,000 kids. They should be devastated that their background check system is so broken that they missed 21 years of illegal status and criminal charges. This case raises some terrifying questions about how many other people are working in sensitive positions without proper authorization or criminal background checks. If the superintendent of Iowa's largest school district can operate illegally for 21 years, how many teachers, administrators, and staff are in similar situations?
At the time of his arrest, Roberts was working as the superintendent of Des Moines Public Schools, despite being an illegal alien with a final order of removal and no work authorization.
Former DHS Secretary Chad Wolf hit the nail on the head with this one when he pointed out that the school districts have obligated to ensure everyone they hire is legally authorized to work in the United States. The fact that Roberts had no work authorization should have triggered red flags in every payroll system.
And obviously, the school district did not do their due diligence. He has a criminal record as well. So clearly, they didn't do any type of background investigation.
The question is whether Roberts used fraudulent documents or whether the school district simply ignored federal employment verification requirements. Either way, it represents a massive failure that put children at risk and violated federal law. Oh, and let's not forget who the real victims are in this scandal. 33,000 kids and their families who trusted Des Moines school systems to properly vet people responsible for the children's education and safety. Parents send their children to school every day believing that the adults in charge have been properly screened and are legally authorized to work there. The betrayal of trust is absolutely devastating here, and it's made worse by the school board's refusal to take responsibility. This case highlights a broader problem of sanctuary policies and weak immigration enforcement that allowed people to live and work illegally for decades without any consequences. When there are no real penalties for violating immigration law, this is exactly what happens. America, this Iowa scandal represents a complete breakdown of the systems that are supposed to protect our children. For 21 years, an illegal immigrant with gun charges was in charge of educating 33,000 students, and nobody in the education bureaucracy caught it. The Des Moines School Board needs to explain how their background check system failed so spectacularly. The Iowa Board of Educational Examiners needs to explain how they issued a superintendent license to someone without work authorization. And every administrator involved in hiring and retaining Roberts needs to be held accountable. This isn't just about one corrupt superintendent. It's about a system that prioritized political correctness over child safety. safety. When school districts are more concerned about appearing inclusive than properly vetting employees, the children suffer. The good news is that ICE finally arrested Roberts despite having to chase him down like a fugitive. But the bad news is this case probably represents just the tip of the iceberg. How many other school districts have failed to properly vet their employees? Parents across America need to demand answers from their local school boards. They need to verify that proper background checks are being conducted and all employees are legally authorized to work with children. This is exactly why we need Trump's immigration enforcement policies and why we can't trust the education establishment to police it itself. When the people responsible for our children's safety can't even verify their employees are in the country legally, the system has failed completely. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.